Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Tom and I'm making this YouTube channel to record Assassin gameplay. There's been somewhat of a demand in the community, I think, for it, so here we go. We're gonna give a shot at it and hopefully you like it. I've been playing Assassin for some years now and I think maybe this will be a fun challenge for me, as even the deck building is becoming more and more kind of solved in my brain. But I do have an interesting deck that we've been working on lately. It is Count Your Blessings, Control Uzuri, with lots of double troubles. I helped record a video recently on the Plague Hive's YouTube channel, so you can see the version history of this deck has what it was like in that video and the things we talked about and kind of the theory of why Count Your Blessings is a relevant card in Uzuri. So if you want to learn more about that theory, you can go ahead and check his video. It'll be in the description along with his channel. The deck list will be there too. But for now, I just want to get some gameplay. I'll queue up on Talishar and kind of talk about the card choices a little bit here. Maybe I'll just make my own game and talk about some of the differences in cards. So I'll just start with the equipment. We do have less equipment than when we talked about the deck on Plague Hive. Basically, the only sideboard equipment is this Widow Veil. So we lost Flick Knives, and the reason is, even in the matchups where Flick Knives is good, it's not great. And Vambrace is still serviceable, especially with, I've put a couple more double troubles back in. So we're going to see how those work out. Specifically, I put in 2 more yellow double trouble than you saw in the video, basically taking the same slot as Art of Desire, the red Art of Desire. I have an Iris sideboard, which is, if you can believe it, almost all of the cards. This matchup tends to go pretty late, so we're just going to submit and get right into the gameplay now. I didn't draw a hand going first that is going to help me gain something about my opponent's playstyle. I would really like to see a stealth card and kind of see how they approach blocking it. So what I think I'm going to do is just swing Dagger twice and put some of my powerful cards on the bottom of the deck. Codex and these 2 strong reds. Arsenal sink below. And the reason I'm doing it this way, instead of, like, I could have an option if I was quite convinced the game would go to fatigue, of just attacking with the Command and Conquer. As this, like, the face-up 6 is easily enough to get 2 cards from them. Turns out they give 2 cards to the dagger, so I think this is fine. And the way I want my deck to be is I'm going to try to put a blue next to the Codex CNC. It's possible this Persuasive gets here, or gets to the bottom. We'll see how I do that. Kadachi, one of the advantages of playing healing cards, but the Count Your Blessing and the Sigils, is you get to kind of ignore these annoying breakpoints and you'll heal back that life eventually. So we have Mauling Key for 5. Some Mask Momentum on hit, but I'm not too worried about it because they have shown they don't have extenders in their hand already, I think. So I would like to try to utilize the Shred, and I think I want to do it by swapping the Persuasive. So how would this work? If they can fully play around the Leave No Witness, they'd have to block 4 on the Persuasive and then D-React. Decent chance they have a D-React. So basically my choice is, do I sink a card or no? And I think I am going to. Instead of blocking the Leave No Witness, I'm going to play the sink out, put my Leave No Witness on the bottom, and look for, I was hoping a card that could swing Dagger, but that's okay. So for them going second only to have leaked 4 damage on me is not that impressive. Not that my follow-up turn is very impressive either. Like, the damage on it is not great. But we'll see if I can connect with the Leave No Witness. And arsenaling another Sink Below is just fine. In fact, I would say having these early game is usually pretty nice because they offer you flexibility and value, and you want both of those things before your life total is too low. That way you can count your blessings in good time. Standing order is pretty interesting in Ira. So I'm guessing this is here because the Mask of Momentum draws can be a little bricky. So a way this draw could be bricky is like a lot of their blues are just really stinky, right? You don't want them in Arsenal. So Standing Order can kind of filter those for them. And this is kind of cute, you know, it's being a little D-React here. Not really a D-React, but you know what I mean. Like it's defending for more than 3 just for a single card. Also filtered out their arsenal, so this Leave No Witness will not take an extra card from their deck. That's a pretty cute little card in Ira. Now, I think Ira, just as a hero, is not really the strongest. Oh, nice, got a red. Now, let me hit full screen so it doesn't tab out on me. Okay, so I think Ira as the hero just doesn't have enough offensive overlap, as James White would like to say, to really contend. They have nice value cards like this Bittering Thorns. That's pretty good for them. But I think I'm going to be able to block it quite cleanly with Mask plus Sink Below. So I'm going to go for that. And I might expect a 1 cost to follow it up. So in that case, I think what keeps my hand the most flexible is bottoming a Surgical. So we'll see what they follow up with. It's a Kodachi for 1. Not too interested in blocking that. Spinning Wheel Kick is not what they play. They're going to arsenal it because they had no resources. So an interesting, say, like repercussion of building the deck a little differently with the equipment is I don't have Nerve Scalpel anymore to try to capitalize on decks such as Ira or Warriors and sometimes Guardian that play more reaction type cards. So if those decks become a larger part of the meta, I probably would want to find a space for that Nerve Scalpel. Just having the more relevant dagger. Skill Peeler is still pretty good against Shuko and Mask Momentum. Just maybe over the course of the game the Nerve gets more value. So the plan here, I want to say, is to attack. Oh, they're blocking. Okay, so maybe their hand is a little bit clunky, a little bit more block heavy. So I want to give them a stealth card that I'm more comfortable that they block 6 on, which I want to say is the Infect. If they do end up blocking 6 on it, we'll see. No block, so we'll just swap, and they're just passing straight through. That's a really strange choice for them to have gone and done a 3 block on the dagger. I'm not really sure what that means about their hand. Especially because I gave them like pretty much no information. You know, I used my Tunic to swing both of them. Okay, we're still just taking the Kodachis. At some point, I think there will be decisions where I consider blocking the second Kodachi with Mask of Momentum, but I don't think we're there yet. Pounding Yellow for 5. Unfortunately, my hand does not convert that well on offense. So I'm going to do the following. I'm actually going to keep the Double Trouble and block like so. I think this is actually one of the strengths of Ira is in the grindy games, 1 power into 2 power into 5 power is pretty annoying to block. And like you have several annoying packets of damage there. So in our case, this turn, I did lose 1 block value on a stealth card, and that, you know, just couldn't be avoided. You know, I had no way to convert the card aside from swinging a dagger, which is not what I want to be doing. So now I have an interesting choice of which stealth card would I rather in the deck. I'm not going to get over 6 value here. I think I'll just keep the prognosis in there. It is a better small hand play in the late game. And I would say like this is pretty much what you want to be doing. You want to be trading your blues for reds on defense. Like they're defending with reds, so I'm happy about that. Spinning wheel kick off of Tunic. I think it makes some amount of sense to block this. It really depends on what their follow-up is. Like if they do this into a CNC for 7, I'm kind of annoyed. But then why would they use Tunic? So it is a little tricky to figure out what the rest of their hand is. Aside from probably it's a red card, because they blocked with 2 reds, right? So given that, I think I am going to put this Razor's Edge. I think I'm going to make the read that it's not Command and Conquer. It's just a Kadashi for 2, so I'm very happy about this. And I think my turn is going to be Pitch Plague Hive for Spider's Bite into Command and Conquer. I think I can make a reasonable read. Their arsenal is not Sink Below, because they would have probably cast that to potentially unbrick their all-red hand. So a question could be, what are the chances this is a Flick Flack? If it is a Flick Flack, would they have played it on the prior turn? Like, would they have blocked with 1 red attack action instead of both? Maybe. I think it's more likely this is another, say, 1 cost attack, something like that. So we're just going to isolate the CNC. The Plague Hive hit an inertia token, which is pretty okay. Like, depends on how well they can block the CNC, but you know, if they have no way to use these 3 cards in hand, then I'm gonna double dip on Arsenal Destruction this turn cycle. All right, it's a pretty interesting hand as well. I can try to leverage my Razor's Edge and Bonds, but we'll see how their attacks line up. Command and Conquer. That is pretty annoying because I have a D-React. Their on-hit draw doesn't matter because of inertia. So if I do let it hit, then I'm doing okay. Do I have a Leave No Witnesses? I do. So unfortunately, I think I'm just taking the hit from the CNC. There's no good way to use the Razor's Edge and block the CNC in the same movement. So I also have a CNC here. So I think it's just a whole mess of Command and Conquer is going to be happening. What I want to do is take the hit, play my Scrap, Dagger, and Codex. So that'll be the play. And it's annoying, but what can you do sometimes? And I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to show my opponent pitching Sink Below here. It doesn't really matter. Spanish Infect. So maybe they think, oh, their hand is very clunky. I'm just going to keep what I have and hit them back. Or I get totally messed up by Flick Flack. That could happen too. Good card. Very good card. I'm still happy enough casting a Codex, though. Frailty very good against Kadachis. My guess is they'll choose a Command and Conquer from here. Just play for value, but we'll see. The Spider's Bite effect is active, so a combo card would block for 4. So I'm still taking 2 cards from them, no matter what. Yep, they chose a CNC. Discard Standing Order. Oh, maybe they should be keeping the Standing Order, block with that and filter the arsenal out. I guess they lose the flick-flack value if they were going for that. It's kind of a Standing Order adding some agency to the game. That's twice now, in fact, so pretty cool. Okay, I'm pretty happy to get the Shuko on this, I would say. It's totally fine outcome. They're going to go Kadachi into CNC because it will add the Ira power, go back up to 6, so good on them. And I think I have a pretty clear block 6 on this. Question is, am I going to try to Arsenal to count your blessing or something else? I think I'll just go for block 6, Arsenal CYB. It is very important to play them out as you see them, but efficiently if you can do so. And I realize that this isn't the most efficient play either. I'm swapping into a Leave No Witnesses. But if I get a D-React out of them, I'm pretty happy. No D-React, all right. Or maybe D-React. No, it just hits. Hey, we got a flick-flack. All right, 2 silver is nice. Now I can freely Mask of Perdition something. I have drawn a bit of a stinky hand, so my guess is I'm going to be blocking with 2 shakedowns and casting Count Your Blessings. Giving a deck like Ira all of the tempo is really not the worst thing ever. They can have trouble converting full hands. I mean, as we're seeing here, they're going to get a Mask of Momentum trigger, and unless that's a sigil in hand, then they will not be able to convert the card. I guess they could Breeze Rider, right? No, this doesn't have combo, so that doesn't work. All right, so I'm just gonna cast the red one, I guess. I'm not sure it matters. Here come more Kadachis. Let's see. I'm gonna have Tunic coming, so I have a pretty nice turn coming if I don't get CNC'd. We'll see what their play is. Censor. Censor's okay. If they do choose Count Your Blessing, that's pretty annoying. It would be reasonable for them to choose it. That is kind of tricky, actually. I don't have a great way to block the censor. So I wonder what I should be doing here. I think so as to not get my turn bricked, I'm gonna go below the full efficiency here. I'm waiting for the Tunic, because if they do call it, I'm really not happy. Like, that would be just pretty bad outcome. So let's see what they call now. They called Codex, which is totally reasonable. I'm just gonna pass. Censor did a lot of work there. Nice little card. I mean, even still, they did like a 4-card 9 or whatever it is, 4-card 8. So kind of bad. But Censor made my turn pretty bad too. Yep, still not blocking the second Kadachi. Not really worth it. Will block this one. Pretty clear choice. Razor Reflex would have been annoying there. Maybe it's a good card for Ira in this matchup. I think that makes sense. So you'll notice pretty much this whole game I've been behind on life total. I think that if you don't draw the count your blessings in the right order, that will happen. Generally speaking, like the breakpoints that you don't want to block will just whittle you down. But you can see, like, we're still not really at threat of dying. The codexes have bought me some space, and obviously the 3 I have played have been pretty nice. Get to snipe another D-React. Look at us go. Oh, Kadachi, Kadachi. This one for 0. Very nice, very nice. Spinning wheel kick for 5, huh? I think I am happy to use my Fate Foreseen on this. If they do have a CNC, I'd rather play the Fate Foreseen here. CYB on top, that's pretty nice. I'll take that. And I'm going to have an interesting decision point here on the Bonds of Agony. Basically, I have quite a few reactions on board that my opponent is going to have to respect. So I got to decide if I want to put the black text in, because it might incentivize a block from them, but I think I'm not going to. I think it might telegraph a little bit too hard that the Bonds of Agony is my play for the turn. Maybe I want to kind of bluff with 1 card left. All right, let's count D-Rex. We got a flip back there. And I'm pretty sure one here. Yep, there it is. I haven't seen sync blows yet, so my guess is they're just not on them. All right. 1 card block does suggest a D-React. I know I have a Count Your Blessing on top, and I'm going to want to potentially use Tunic with it. So this is a pretty tough choice. I think the 1 card block, given the way they've played, means they do have a D-React. And this is the type of inflection point where you do just have to make a call and decide, like, what play is my opponent making. So I could also just hold the Tunic and not Vambrace. That's kind of interesting. I could Tunic, use all my gear, and not shred. I'm gonna say thinking, bear with me, because this is kind of tricky. I have 2 silver, so using the mask is totally fine. I can buy it back. I've played out a decent number of my cards that care about reactions, so I think given this situation, I will just ask for the D-React. I will make them have it and figure out how best to use my Count Your Blessings on the next turn, and that'll be that. Yep, Sync Bow and Arsenal. Very good. I think the thing that tipped it over the edge for me in making that play was I can just buy back my hat. So that is that. More Kodachis, more annoying breakpoint, or more annoying damage to block. Buff power CNC, or E-Strike is a little annoying. I will just defend it, because this time the Mask of Momentum on hit is relevant. So just block, re-equip my mask, and play a Count Your Blessing and pass. I'd have had no effective way to use the Tunic there anyway. But this is an interesting element of playing against Ira. If my read was the Arsenal is Sink Below, which is kind of a hard read because we haven't actually seen Sync yet. We've only seen Fate. Well, actually, if we've seen Fate, then maybe we can assume Sync as well. In any case, if my read is the Sync and I just don't attack or don't use my reactions, then their mask momentum on hit doesn't matter. So that's something to think about. This turn I am gonna block and probably send E-Strike for 7. Yeah, they send theirs for 8, which is a lot. I mean, my life total is pretty scary now, so I need to be hitting them too. Because if all I'm doing is threatening fatigue, I'm not sure I'll get there. So we're gonna attack their life total too. Flick Flack is good. Happy to Arsenal a Sigil. And I'd say decently happy with this hand as well. First Justinic I've seen, I think. I might try to Arsenal it. See if I have any good targets for it. Pretty much just some prognoses left. And Infect, I suppose, is also in the deck. I mean, and there's this Bonds. So I think, ideally, I don't have to really defend this next attack. We'll see what it is. A Censor, huh? So what I want to do is play the Sigil, block with Mask, and then go Tunic, looking for scrap into Bonds of Attraction to try to press some life total plus deck damage on them. And if they call the Justinic, I probably just play Count Your Blessings instead and Arsenal the Justinic. So I think this is a reasonable line. Play Sigil, so if they name it, I don't straight up die. Mask trigger is irrelevant. I wonder if Iris should be playing Sigil of Solace to try to make their mask trigger more impactful. But we'll see. I'm starting to get to the point, like now, the remaining 2 CYBs are pretty darn impactful for soaking up Kodachis. I think this is a matchup where, in fact, the blue Count Your Blessing does quite a bit of work. Like, going from 30 healing up to 54 on the Kodachis is a huge number. Alright, and we got a Bonds here. The one thing my play didn't do the best is if they block 6 on the Bonds. Gotta decide on if I use Mask of Perdition here, because their life total is going low enough that I might not get another non-lethal hit in. So I think I am going to pop it just for a card out of their deck and potentially some more life gain. Oh, that's annoying. They drew double Sync Blow. What can you do? They had the goods. That's a pretty scary place to be now, actually, in terms of life total. Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and cast a Count Your Blessing, pitching, Shred. I do have quite a bit of deck damage in my hand here if I can afford to keep it. And obviously life total. But we'll see. If it's an attack for 5 and not 6, I'm in decent shape. It's an attack for 4 go again. How annoying. I mean, I have to block it, obviously. So, down goes Tunic. And I think down goes Justinic as well, unfortunately. Tunic for Torrent of Tempo. I think I'll just block. There's no real reason to cast this Count Your Blessing, I don't think. I'm I have a codex all the way at the bottom, which is in like 3 turns or something. So I'm not sure I'm going to have an effective way to cast this, or an efficient way to cast it. And in fact, I think efficiency is kind of in my downfall this game. My opponent has had quite a good amount of sensor value that happened, as well as command and conquer value that I just couldn't really interact with too profitably. But we'll see. They are running lower on cards. I think that's the last CNC. So nope, it's not. It's only their second one. That's pretty annoying. Might have to think about deploying this Fate for Scene sooner than I want on a turn cycle. Okay, here come the Kodachis, of course. Bittering Thorns. Annoying that I don't have a blue, because then I could block with Vambrace plus my D-React. As it stands, I think I just have to Fate for Scene it, and that's it, which is pretty bad. Like this has gone into quite a losing game state. Karachi, yep. So I think my out to win, in fact, is if they only have no go again to follow this up. Because Rowdy Locals, sure. Yeah, no go again, fine with me. I will block. That's a good card in Ira for a late game. Okay, found my Codex. So I can do what I want with the Vambrace. I can block for 1. Pay 1. And then I'll just do this. No real reason to slow roll them. Okay, Kodachi again, take 2. Probably blocking just 6 on whatever they throw. Yep. Ira, this game sort of just having the Uzuri problem, or the old Uzuri problem, where you just can't convert your big hands effectively. Now I get to do my Codex thing. It probably just gets de-reacted, but the Frailty token is a big deal. Very much effective life there. And now I just need some kind of way to kill them. I'm not sure it's there, to be honest, left in my deck. And I think the story of this game is just coming down to like that sensor in the CNC. And maybe looking back, I should just let the sensor hit, and if they call to count your blessing, that is that. And I just kind of shrug and move on. Believe I'm supposed to protect my life total against this. They have a Fate for Scene left as far as D-Reacts go, which is annoying. And yet again, the Scale Peeler instead of Nerve Scalpel is not helping me. But I think that's just the spot we're in. Swinging the 2 daggers and hoping they haven't drawn their final D-React. I doubt it, but we got to play to the outs. The outs here are slim. I do have, I want to say, like 1 more turn of taking their damage, essentially. But I don't think I have much damage left in my deck. Yeah, here comes the D-React. Very annoying. Sink below my own is not too shabby, actually. I might be able to play for a line where I Plague Hive for Frailty. Yeah, could do something. Stab Wound. What is this? When this hits. Yeah, when this hits does not bother me at all. So I'm just gonna I think sink below. If I were memorizing my pitch stack, then I would sink below confidently, but as it stands, I am not sinking confidently. Double trouble is a good one, as it turns out. So they should be out of D-reacts now, which makes the double trouble pretty nice. Okay, we'll see what the Plague Hive hits. We get a Frailty. All right, I mean, playing to your outs. Here it begins. Another inflection point of this game. When I went for my second mask activation of the game, they had the double sink below. That was a big deal. That was like a lot of health and deck damage that I did not convert. All right, so let's see how much they block. They might also be trying to track just how much I have left. Yeah, this is a clever block from them, and I think they needed to do it. We'll see. They're probably considering either another card or even Tunic here. Kind of tricky for them. And again, you know, if I'm connecting with that earlier Double Trouble Just a Nick play, they're in this kind of situation a little bit earlier in the game, and that I think that would have been a big deal for me. But we move. We have a Spike Blood Rot left. I sort of remembered that somewhere. This has been a really arduous game to not only play but commentate at the same time. I'm kind of glad I'm learning the skill a little bit. I think it's helping to slow down, if you will. This is really frustrating. Ah, no. It's the perfect card for them. It's the perfect card. So what I have to do, unfortunately, is block 9 on it. It's really, really unfortunate, but it's what I have to do. So they played that quite well, as it turns out. They pretty much mitigated all impact I could have from a swap and sent a CNC for 7. Yeah, so my guess is they actually sunk one of these to the bottom somewhere in the game. It's turn 21, and I don't think they pitched it ever. Standing order, sure enough, gets to block for 5. So I think I'm dead now to most things, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Karachi, yep. Karachi, I have to block. And they need to present 3 damage or more. And then, that's only 1. All right. We have outs. This is good. This is very good. So I'm going to Spider's Bite. And they're going to need to get up to 5 on this pick to pieces, which is hard if Spider's Bite hits. Yeah, it has piercing. Can't just put Tunic. I still think I'm dead if they survive the turn, right? Because Karachi's and I'm at 1. And my Tunic is gone because I had to block with it to make a life saving play earlier, or like life preserving play. But we'll see. I mean, this is definitely one of the worst ones to have in this situation, but one of the worst stealth cards to have. Still not the end of the world. Once again, I think they can play around everything that I could have here. They live at 1. They got the Blood Rot, so they have to keep an extra blue, which is something. And then maybe I isolate them for the win. Yeah, maybe. Could get lucky. I doubt it. Kadachi, Kadachi. Yeah, they just throw any old attack, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can undo. No problem. Rowdy Locals. Yeah, it takes both cards. And then you just pitch the blue. So I'll send the GG. You can see just how relevant it was that they had some disruption hit me. Like, no disruption hit me, and I'm like several life higher with several more cards in deck, and I think it's a pretty convincing win, but close matchup. That's how it goes. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.